Welcome to Wedding Fisher Wednesday! It's me again. Hi, my name is Tej, and I'm going to be your host today for Wedding Feature Wednesday. Today, guys, we have the beautiful, amazing Nadia from Passions for Weddings. I'm really excited about this interview with Nadia because it's really going to show the dynamic between a designer and a planner. And sometimes people feel designers and planners, not friends, can't work together, that kind of stuff. Listen, there's a difference, but there's a collaboration. And like Nadia always says, it's collaboration over competition. So I am super excited to interview her today. Let's have a few more people come in. Let me fix up my backdrop there. A few more people come in and let's get into Wedding Feature Wednesdays. This Wednesday we do not have a backdrop by House of Balloons. She's still getting over her thing, but you have a backdrop by me. I am excited though to get into who Nadia is, what she's about, what is Passions for Weddings, and learn a little bit about her other business ventures. So, without further ado, let me invite Nadia into Wedding Feature Wednesday. All right. Let's see if we get Nadia to come on. Hi! Hey, Nadia! Hey, backdrop, y'all!
I was expecting your House of Balloon backdrop, so I throw my little tablecloth at the back there.
I know. Candice from House of Balloons, guys, check her page out. She's having a few difficulties over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So we've been a little deprived of our fancy backdrops. But hopefully, if anybody else is interested in coming on board with backdrops for Wedding Feature Wednesday, please feel welcome to that. But let's not take the shine off of you, Nadia. To all the guests watching, welcome to Nadia. I always say it wrong. Felicia Satney.
Yes.
Okay, Felicia. Nadia Felicia Satney from Passions for Weddings. Welcome, Nadia.
Thank you.
Nadia has
been a while. I've been following you from day one, so great job. Good
Thank
stuff.
you very much. Now it's your turn. So let's get straight into the meat of the matter. Tell us about you, Nadia.
Okay. My name is Nadia Satney. Very simple, very chill. If I'm not doing weddings, I'm by the beach. As simple as that. Yeah. A mother of one, wife. Worked full time as a operations manager with Dreamy Weddings for about 6 years, and then as weddings manager with Barefoot Holidays for 11 years. 11 years. Wow. And I'm on my own right now, running Passion for Weddings, doing my passion. Yeah, so enjoying it, learning process, and I'm so happy to be sharing information with persons who are looking to become wedding planners, vendors, or just brides trying to do it on their own.
Amazing. So, Passions for Weddings, where did that name come from? I know it's pretty practical, but I hope there's some sort of story behind that.
Definitely. Like I said, I've been doing weddings for a while, and I noticed it wasn't just a job. I really enjoyed doing it. So the last time when I actually did a wedding, and someone was like, "Oh my God, why are you not international? You actually have a passion for this." So I'm like, that sounds like a brilliant name. I'm going to register this. And one day I might do my own business, and its name is going to be Passion for Weddings.
I love that. I love that your brand became exactly who you are and what you're doing. That's amazing. And that's a quick tip for us as creatives. Sometimes when you're trying to think of a brand name, look at what you're good at and what people are experiencing of you. And they experience your passion, and you put the name as Passions for Weddings, and I love that. Amazing.
I'm actually very surprised that that name wasn't taken as yet. So
me too.
I had to take it on her, definitely.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the services that Passions for Weddings provides.
Okay, so Passion for Weddings, our number one priority is always consultations.
Okay.
with COVID and everything that's going on right now, you find a lot of persons want to be creative and do things on their own or have their own DIYs and keep the cost down. So I've been a destination wedding planner. When I say destination, I never locally provided my services. And that was one thing when I look at local weddings, I was like, oh Lord, nobody didn't tell a girl she cannot do that like that. And it was really like, it doesn't have to be a paying job, but I need to advise my people because anything that goes out there is always a reflection on us collectively.
Absolutely. Love that.
If we want to bring ourselves in the international standards, we still can't be doing stuff as if we way back here. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to offer my consultation services and maybe we're just going to start from there.
Okay.
So that was one. Again, a lot of brides have the idea that they could plan their own wedding, which some can and some on the day, we know how that turns out.
Right.
So then I also offer the on-the-day ferry service.
Okay.
So you have your bride who wants to plan everything by herself. She's persistent. Her family wants to help her. At least 6 to 4 weeks before the actual day, I take over, analyze everything, meet with your vendors, and on the day I execute it.
Nice. I love that. So are your consultations for free or your consultations is a charge service?
My consultations are a charge service, yes.
Nice. I love that. And honestly, I respect that. I also charge for my consultations as well. And I respect that because you are sharing all your ideas, all your concepts, and all your expertise over the 11 plus years with persons, and people need to value that your creative vision and your experience as a planner, being able to say what's good and what's bad, what will and will not work, what time is good, what time is not good. They have to value that. And I think a lot more of us have to understand, listen, just like a doctor and a lawyer charges for their expertise and experience, just the same, you two are respected in your field, charge for that.
Yeah. Exactly. I think we've gotten a lot better than before. But I think especially for designers, it's maybe a little bit easier, and you could attest to that. But for a wedding planner, because our service is more consultation, it's not a tangible service. People it's hard for them to understand, why am I paying for this?
Yes.
Wedding planning, you cannot say, let me see your work. Because the work of a wedding planner is a work based on the theme. So when you see a lovely decorated room, it's the designer, unless the planner is also a designer. But most times it's the designer's work, it's the florist's work. And the job of the planner, because there's a difference between a wedding consultant and a wedding planner. One could act as both, but it's two separate jobs.
Okay.
So your wedding planner will have the wedding consultant will have your consultation with you, would do up your entire wedding plan for you and pass it on to your wedding coordinator. So your wedding coordinator is the day of. Now, a consultant can also act as a coordinator.
Okay.
Recently, these days, I try to pass on the coordinator work to lovely people like Jenny and whoever else. But yeah, definitely. But it is two separate jobs.
Yeah. I want to just jump in here and talk about how when she says pass on, it's not that you don't want to do it. It's just that you want to give the best quality at what you do well. And I say the same thing when I get requests for weddings, and I say one of my very first things, just today I called Nadia, because one of my very first things to say is, let me break it down for you so that you can fully understand that there are designers and there are planners. And now I'm understanding that you have a similar experience with you. Do you want a consultation or do you want a coordinator on the day? It's honestly, it's not about passing it on, guys. It's really that if you have to design well and really get into detail and in depth with what it is, then somebody else needs to handle what time the food reach, you know, if there's a spill on the bride's dress, you know, is the transportation made it on time? That's a planner's role. And Janelle's mentioned in the chat, she's saying Serge had to be a day of coordinator at our last wedding. Yes, absolutely. The last wedding we did together, I had to be the designer and the day of
coordinator. And the only reason I took that task on is because the design was so simple. The design was a very simple but very good looking design, but so simple that I felt like, yeah, I can still take on a little bit of the coordination. But even then, it was so difficult, and I missed having a Nadia or Zenobia by my side to help me not have to worry about what time the cake reached. All I had to worry about, all I would have had to worry about is the table and the tablecloth. But I have to now figure out calling Janelle, what time is he reach, calling the florist, calling this. So there's a difference, and I think we really need to value that. And I like that you're showing the difference between your.
Absolutely. And one of the things I learned very late, and I learned it from my one of my mentors, which is Natalie from Dreamy Weddings.
And
What's your weakness is somebody else's strength. So whilst we trying to have all the strengths in all the areas, where we could just partner with somebody who already has it.
Absolutely.
So definitely, and then throughout the years when you're planning, you will notice the parts of the planning you enjoy more and which ones you are stronger in. Because when planning a wedding, there are 3 stages. There's the pre, there's the actual, and there's the post.
Okay.
A lot of us do the pre and the post, and the pre and the actual, and then we forget about the post. But all 3 has to be done to 100%. Because
tell us a little bit
the
about
best
the post.
planning, the best execution, and the post. Okay, so the bride video and photos takes her 3 months to get. The most beautiful wedding, if she's having that post experience, she's going to do as if she never had that beautiful experience. So everything needs to be perfect from beginning to end. Trust me.
Yeah. So the post is a lot of like chasing the photos, the videos, doing the reviews, the client, returning your rental, settling all your bills, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Making sure all your rentals are returned, everything, all your vendors are paid.
Yeah, you see why we need a planner, guys, because for us as designers, our post is stocking everything back into inventory, washing and return, and then we ladder and we say, it's over. But there's so much more.
For the bride and groom, after the wedding, it's over. But for us, we still have at least 2 days left of work.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long would you say your average wedding planning period for a small to medium wedding? How long would you say that you spend on average planning the wedding? Or what is recommended? Don't say yes.
Well, it also depends on the details and how big the wedding is. Planning could be anything a year and 6 months to 6 months to a week.
What's the least amount of time you recommend?
Recommend, depending on the size, at least a year.
Okay.
At least a year, especially if it's a destination wedding, at least a year. Let me just put on my earphones because I'm hearing you very
No problem. Okay, a year. Wow. So what if I don't have a year? Should I be scared? Should I be afraid? Oh my God, I don't have a year. I only have 6 months to plan and execute this wedding. How do I approach it then if I only have 6 months?
The year to 6 months, it could work in the 6 months, but the year gives you ample time if you need to make changes. So if you clear, make changes, the year will give you ample time for that.
Okay, that's awesome. Are there any other services apart from just planning? Well, from what we understood, there's consulting, there's pre-planning, there's planning actual, there's the post. Do you offer any additional services that maybe we didn't even realize? Oh, Nadia does this?
Yes. The additional service, which actually took me into another company, which I call DIY Rentals. Now, I chose very carefully not to put my name or my brand on that item because it is a company that caters to persons such as yourself.
Okay.
So your wedding planners, your DIY brides. This idea was born because of so many DIY brides. They go on Pinterest, they see how beautiful things look, they come to planners, designers, and the designers are giving them prices that they feel is ridiculous.
Yes.
So if you cannot afford a designer, what they're worth, it's okay. It's okay to not be able to. But there is an option over at DIY to give you contemporary modern items as well as acrylic designs as well. to do your own setup, your own wedding as well. So it's just a place that anybody could rent, from designers to brides to just having a birthday party. They could come over and do their own rentals, do their own stuff.
So what you're saying is that the bride has an option to do all her planning with you, but if she wants to sort of like just put together her decor and her family and friends say they can handle that, they
I
can
have
just
no
rent the
issues with
items
that.
from DIY rentals and
The whole
they
purpose
can
of doing
execute
it
their
is
own thing. But you'll be there in the background saying, yeah, the decor has to finish just now, y'all.
no, you tell me when you want to set up, when you want to set down. I just come and collect when you're done. So
Nice, yeah.
it's
So
just to give you a variety of options.
yeah, and somebody is saying about Pinterest is a designer's worst nightmare. Okay, so as a designer, I'll tell you, I don't share that opinion that Pinterest is a worst nightmare. I think it's all about management. It's how you manage your client. I love when brides go on Pinterest and they dream and they dream and they dream. Go ahead, take a whole year and dream of everything. I think it's about how you manage their dreams now.
Yeah.
One of the first steps that I do with Pinterest is take that board. I say, can I get access to your board so I can get an understanding of where you at and what you see for your wedding? And I take that board and I separate things into this is for the cake, this is for the dress, this is for the hair, because they just pin in everything, you know. And I can now determine this is all for a planner now. And I take that board now, I either download it or I request access. And I would send that board to somebody like you and say, hey, these are all the things that she's looking at in terms of her food, her drinks, whatever, whatever. Let me know if you want me to bring the tablecloth and what any special things that you need. But
Now, the great thing is that when you send that board to me, I bring them to reality. So the reality
Victoria
is
planner.
80% of the stuff you see on Pinterest is not available locally. If
Yeah,
it is available locally, it is at a small quantity or it needs to be shipped to St. Lucia.
yeah.
Another reason again how DIY came about, because everybody have Pinterest as the inspo. You find this one bringing in that, that one bringing in that, and at the end of the event, at the end of the wedding, there's nothing to do with it. So clients are actually open to DIY. Just send us an email. You show us your items that you have, and we could add it to our rental list as well.
I love
So
that.
you can make back your money.
I love that. How do you handle that a bride has a particular vision in her mind and then she can, like you're saying, she cannot get it. You know, how do you manage being able, like walk us through, how do you tell me I'm excited about my wedding, I have my Pinterest pictures, you know, it's a $10,000 vision that I have. I walk in the door with $4,000. How do you and I wanted things hanging from clouds, and there are no strings for clouds here. So exactly like somebody saying, I really want sand from Greece on $4,000, and that costs $10,000 up. Walk me through as a planner. How do you tell me as a bride? Sama bilay mo ka, my girl.
Just like that. No, but on a serious note, we get a lot of these, and it's not their fault
Yeah,
because they really don't know what those prices are. To them, it's in Pinterest. Everybody has it, so it's cheap. What may cost $5 in the States will be like $80 here, and we all know the issues we go through with customs. So at that point, you definitely have to do what we call a reality check.
mm,
There is a database that gives you the basic prices of everything. So then, okay, let's say we want to set up with strictly gold. We want the Shivari chairs. We want our glass gold chargers. One glass gold charger is $12.
wow.
You have 100 people.
Yeah,
So multiply 12 by 100. Now, a lot of things that people don't understand, a lot of planners don't own their own stuff. It's being rented from companies.
right.
So they incur that cost. Most times you have to put a markup, maybe $5, $3, whatever it is. Even the planners who own their own stuff, they still need to charge you for it because the custom duties are so ridiculous.
Yeah,
And just a small idea as to what custom charges. You bring in 6 charger plates, the plastic ones. You can get at SNS for $12 now. And you pay, what, 6, 7 US for it? to clear it, it's at least $300.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not even talk about candles. That's another one.
Oh
See
my
candles?
God.
You all seen all these beautiful setups with all these candles lit and la la la. Lovely, looks real good. Try and bring that in, huh?
So what you definitely have to do is to give them the figures.
Yeah.
And my formula for planning is always straightforward. Always give you the language that you could understand. I'm not buffering any fancy words that you don't understand. So this is the list of items that you want without me adding my things to it. Now, as much as I'm called passion for weddings, passion not putting food on my table, so I have to charge at
Absolutely.
some point. So most times your $4,000 budget, your rentals alone have taken over that. So then now let's discuss how are we going to change that. So then maybe we might change it by bringing down your numbers from 100 to maybe 50 or 60.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting back, the most important thing is what is important to you. That's how I always start my consultations. What are the things you must have? What are the things you could do without?
Yes.
Most things is photography is important to me, video is important to me, food is important to me. The decor not so much. The drinks for the men definitely have to be on point. The
Yeah.
dress for the bride, excellent. Flowers are not too much. Some people like we could do plastic flowers, we could do
Mm-hmm.
artificial. We don't need flowers. So that is part of the consultation. And then after the consultation, you could walk away to say, hey, um, we really exceeded our expectations. We're thinking the budget we had could have for everybody. Now, a lot of the things that you find is a lot of for local weddings at a local family members always say, this family member is contributing this family
Yeah.
member is contributing that.
Woo!
That is a disaster waiting to
To
happen.
happen. Yes, ma'am. It really is, guys. I
I've
can.
seen too many times where the bridal party are the ones decorating
Yeah.
and they're late to get ready and a 3 o'clock wedding is now it's minutes to 5 and nobody's there yet.
Yes.
Or my auntie did the cake, but she brought the cake way too early, so
Yeah.
she didn't know that now the cake is planting and my auntie's in a nice dress, so she can't come and attend to the cake. So the planner is stuck with figuring out what to do with the
It's
cake.
like
So
the game.
all of those things in your initial consultation. First of all, are there any vendors that you're working with already? Any family
Mm.
members promise you anything? I need to know all these things. So that's very important and it helps. It helps with the costing as well.
Yeah. So when you think you, and that's a tip to everybody, when you think you cutting corners, getting your cousin, nene, and auntie, unless you're professionals, when you think you're cutting corners, getting everybody involved, you're actually making it a lot more expensive and a lot harder, and you're opening it up to so many more mistakes for yourself, not just leaving it in the hands of professionals. Yeah. Now I have a
Yes.
question for you that I thought to myself, I've never asked that to anybody on the live, but it's you're one of the realest people I know, very authentic. So let's have that conversation.
So
What is the minimum you think somebody should have for a 50-person wedding? What at the minimum, how much money should be in your budget at minimum for a reasonable 50-person ceremony, cocktail hour, and a reception? Sit down
you want
reception, dinner, simple, no big glam, and a little dance party after, no big glam. From a planner's point of view.
a
That question,
comfortable
eh?
wedding? A comfortable wedding, I would say anything between 35 to 40, and that's with your
1,000?
glitz. Yeah, 1,000, and
Okay.
that's with your glitz and glam. And
Location
before
rentals, food, drinks,
everything,
everything included. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. For
35 to
50
40.
people.
Yeah.
Look at everybody, they're calculating now, yeah. How much is that per person? Everybody's sit down there doing that.
Because you have three components. You have your ceremony, you have your cocktail, you have your reception.
Yeah.
Now I know as you're one of the designers who love to transfer decorations from one to the next.
I don't
So
love
that
it, but it does have to happen, yes.
to save costs. And I don't disagree with it, because you find for the ceremony sometimes you have such lovely flowers for just half an hour, and then after, what happens to it? So that's
Yeah.
actually an awesome idea, to really use your items worth it. Because when you see you have a budget of $15,000-$20,000 for flowers for a few hours, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So just to
find
clarify,
find a
because
comfortable budget.
somebody said 10,000 in the chat. She didn't say that, guys. Hour. She said 30 to $40,000 for your glitz and
10,000.
glam, but your ceremony, your cocktail hour, your reception, and your dance party. So technically, you're looking at about 4 events for a range of about $40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody's
And
taking
you
notes
get
because
and you get people coming to request that type of service with $10,000.
yes.
Now, let's be logistics. If we doing $10,000 for an outdoor wedding, rentals alone for 50 people would at least be half of that.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
have to rent your chairs, you have to rent your tents, you have to rent your cutleries, your linens, your deliveries, your working guys. That's
Yep.
not a coordination fee in there yet. That's not a designer's fee in there as yet. That's not the cost of food as yet. That's not the cost of your drinks as yet. I always tell people weddings are expensive as you allow it to be.
Mm.
It
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Because you find you have couples that say, hey, I don't want anything. I want like a no frills wedding. I just want to be barefoot on the sun, just do my legal paperwork, and that's it.
Yeah.
That roughly costs you under $2,000.
No reception.
No
You're not eating
reception.
nothing. Yeah.
Just not eating
You're
nothing,
drinking
but that's
coconut.
people
You're drinking
cost.
coconut barefoot.
Yeah, but you could have it still simple on a
Yeah.
public beach, because like we said, all beaches are public, nothing is private. You pull up on the beach, you have your simple ceremony, you have your little cocktail, and you're good to go, especially with COVID now. Everything is, we've done quite a few grab and go receptions.
Yeah.
Tej, you can attest to that. And COVID really hats off to all the planners who've been working in the COVID. And
Yes.
that's basically for the planners as well who are off hotel property, because the planners at the hotels have it a little bit easier because their stuff don't change. The
Yes.
hours are still the same, they can still do those same. But for those outside, you could have just recently last weekend, I had to do the whole logistic for a wedding in 2 days.
Oh gosh, 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days,
Wow.
because the protocol changed on us like that. So now when we had a curfew of 9 o'clock, curfew has now changed to 7. So
Yeah.
that means we can't have the extensive long running order of a
Oh.
reception anymore. So
Yeah. So it puts you through a loop almost immediately.
it puts you through a loop emotionally for the brides, because you know they have their visions of what they want their day to be. Financially, not only the planner loses, but all the vendors lose. So where you have your lighting guy who was expecting to do a magnificent job, the fireworks guy to do, none of that is needed
Yeah.
because the wedding is today. So people lose, but I mean, for safety, sometimes you have to sacrifice and stuff like that
Oh
happens.
gosh. So
Yeah.
how do brides now prepare, given how change in the environment is? Let's say I have a bride for January. How does she prepare now, Nadia, with a planner? Does she plan her entire wedding and just hope for the best, or does she have two plans? Is that double work? Is that double price for you? Like, what do I do now as a bride?
Or as a bride, it's still very iffy, because we don't know how things are happening. You find they have brides who will go ahead and plan, they don't care.
Yeah.
So you don't find those. So these are set in stone, and stuff will happen unless, I guess, restrictions and other things don't allow us to. You have the brides who are willing to postpone until some sort of normalcy comes back.
Mm.
And you have the brides who are willing to go for the changes. So it all depends on the client. You have a
As it
lot of
is.
brides who are just willing to stay home and do things back home instead
Oh.
of going to the loop. Yeah. So it's a bit
So
of
is
a
there ever
win-win.
a case where you double planning a wedding? So you have a big wedding
planned out for if the numbers allow, and then you have her 10-person wedding still planning at the same time, so that then you get to choose which one depends on the time.
Absolutely. I'm the type of planner. I have, you have a B plan B. I
Yeah,
always have a plan. I have a plan up to Z.
up to
Up
Z.
to Z. Up to Z.
Up to
Nothing,
Z.
nothing is left unturned.
Nice.
Um, One of the things that so far so good, knock on wood, when it comes to logistics, I am a stickler for time, and my running orders are close to perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is one of the things. Time is extremely important to me, and having my vendors, well, we know our issues with vendors, but so far so good.
Yeah.
It is extremely important because if everything runs on time, it leaves extra time so you could stay and enjoy yourself a little bit more.
What is one of your most challenging wedding planning experiences? Give us one of your blooper moments in there.
I have so many, boy.
Something where you're pulling your hair out.
um, well, most recently, because it was one of the big weddings I did during COVID, was like 2 days before the wedding is actually going to happen. I now have to change a sit-down a la carte dinner for 60 people into now a cocktail grab and go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
So within 2 days, I have to do logistics with doing a time back, having everything pushed back 2 hours, and making sure everybody's available to accommodate me. So that was
Right.
was a bit rough, but I mean it was okay. But in my earlier days of of planning, with my little bit of experience at the time, which actually led me to go into the legal framework. So I actually do the legal framework for weddings.
Oh,
So
nice.
you don't have to go to your lawyer's office. I come to the comfort of your home, you sign your documents, and I do all the running around for you. The day of the wedding, we were doing a cruise ship wedding at the time. Clients were coming off the cruise ship, and apparently the groom divorce decree somewhere in there stated that he's not allowed to remarry within 3 months of his divorce.
Hmm.
And it was just 2 months of his divorce. But
Ah,
we thought he was traveling out of his country, coming to St. Lucia, that it
so
did
you
not
want
apply. So it's always the heartache of telling a bride who is already dressed that her legal paperwork do not come through because of
Oh,
delay, and having to see, yeah,
oh,
breaking type of news is
oh.
always the.
Did she get married? No?
Well, they did a symbolic ceremony on the boat,
Okay.
but the
Okay.
man knew what he was doing. He knew.
He was just crossing his fingers and hoping for gold there.
Yeah. Another one is one of my grooms fainted at the wedding.
What?
Um, yeah, at the wedding, I remember that was at Pigeon Island, and when he fainted, he took a little while to recuperate, and he came back up. But we never noticed that we put him to stand up by the bridesmaids. So all the wedding pictures, the groom is
Oh.
by the bridesmaid, and the bride is by the groom.
Oh no!
I was
But
like,
I hope it makes for
oh,
a very memorable wedding though.
no.
Oh no, I bet you never make that mistake again.
Never. But again, these were in the early stages of planning. So,
Yeah,
so that,
yeah. Oh. Tell us a
but
little bit about. Go ahead.
no, I was saying because one of the popular words that people use are bridezillas. I don't believe in bridezillas. I actually love clients like that because I could prove to them that I could calm them. They
Yeah,
just want done differently. They don't want, well, I've done Pigeon Island. This is how you do this how. They want it customized. And a lot of people just don't, a lot of planners need to understand, not because you've done something a million times at this venue, it means that this new client wants what you've already done.
yeah.
Always treat clients as if it's a new client, a new design, and it's also a chance to change up your portfolio as well. So one of the clients that I love the most is those who tell me, Nadia, my budget is this, do whatever you want.
Oh, I love that. I love when a client walks in with my budget is. You see that first line there? that puts you in a position to make all the right
Or
decisions.
even better, we don't have a budget.
We don't.
But
Oh,
not when we don't have a budget, meaning they don't have money, but we
yeah.
don't have a budget as
Budget
in
as in go ahead
how
and
much you want.
give me my dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Somebody's asked.
that gives you an opportunity to be creative
Yes.
and to
Yeah.
design something that we've never seen in St. Lucia's yet. And I think that's
Absolutely.
what we need to start doing. Even if sometimes a client budget is small, we could still be creative and start doing designs that are up to time, up to date, and within a client's budget.
Absolutely. And the way that I address that sometimes is by using focal points. So although we might not be able to give you everything that you're looking for, but if we can grab the general idea of what it is and put a little here, put a little over here, then absolutely we can mimic the vision as much as we can. Somebody's calling you the wedding whisperer. I'm not even going to say the rest of it. You are the wedding whisperer from now on because she knows how to calm down any emotional and just random scenarios. So she's gonna be the wedding, not in a wedding whisperer moving forward. Tell us about one of your best weddings. You told us about one of your challenge ones. So now tell us one about the one that really pulls at your heartstrings the best.
Oh, I have quite a few, or quite weddings who are actually very dear to me. And these brides have become friends, and they're on my personal social media, and we still talk. Um, it was a couple in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I did my wedding because that was also the same year that I was supposed to get married. Well, I did get married. So the wedding was in November, and my wedding was in December. That wedding came and gone, and I still didn't plan anything for mine yet. But anyway, we're not.
You
This
come in there.
client came, which is funny. They're originally 40 persons came from Hawaii. And you think from Hawaii, like why would you leave Hawaii to come to
And
St.
come
Lucia?
say, Lucia, yeah.
That just did not make sense. But there was something about Pigeon Island and the ruins that just the bride had it. She had this whole lost at sea treasure chest
Oh,
kind
wow.
of. In fact, Tej, you worked that wedding,
I
right?
want that wedding. Oh my
I'm just remembering you
I
worked
was
that
on my
wedding.
own.
Just today I was saying I have never worked a full proper wedding with you, and I did.
Yeah, we have, but when was I? I was on my own. Oh gosh, that is so long ago. Janelle was there, yes. I remember she
That
had a
was
dark
Janelle's.
blue into light white ripple cake coming all the way around. We did a
That
treasure
was
chest with a
that was
barrel.
right. That was
Right,
Janelle's
right.
first destination wedding cake, and I was like, "You know that girl baking some nice chocolate cakes, but let me try."
That was Janelle's what?
And she did an amazing job.
We can get you
That was her
reconnected there.
that was that was her first international wedding cake.
You're having some reconnection issues with Nadia. Let me see. Are you back on?
I'm here. You could hear me.
Yes, you're there. Yes, now you're there. You were saying that was one of Jenna's first wedding cakes?
Her destination wedding cake for international clients here.
Wow, I remember that wedding. Yeah.
So
That's
it
pretty
was 40
cool.
of them coming to, because you draped the walls for me,
Yes,
and that
in the ruins.
time Pigeon Island ruins did
It didn't
not
have a
have
floor.
flooring.
It didn't have a floor yet. Yeah.
And because of that wedding and the amount of ruckus that I created, because initially a planner before had a wedding there, but it was smaller numbers, and I booked the wedding there, and they saying because of my numbers, I will destroy the artifacts, and they can't have it there. I was like, if they had it there, I could have it there.
Yes.
So they did. They allowed us to have it there, and after there, I guess Pigeon Island discovered, okay, well, this is definitely a money-making area, and they invested and did the flooring for that area.
Yeah. It's cousin Nadia, y'all. Yeah, I remember that wedding. That was one of the first times that I was challenged to climb as high as it can go. just go up and put it up. And I remember you on the bottom saying, "Me, I not going up there. It's a good thing you're around." So yeah,
I'm definitely the type of planner who don't think that I need to tell you what to do. I hire
yeah,
you because I believe you are creative, and I'm going to give you your space to be creative. When you're done, I'll come and look and say, oh, okay, I like this, or maybe this could, whatever. But I will not stand there to make sure that you know. I believe in allowing people to do their work.
and I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
so
I
that's
love
how
that
we
you're
had the
trusting your vendors.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think my vendors know me. I have what I call a preferred list of vendors. So once you come to me, I could attest for anybody that I work for who is listed as a preferred vendor.
Yeah.
If you come to me and you say, okay, well, I've booked such and such person, I've personally never worked with the person, I would not tell you not to hire, but I would also not comment because I don't think I'm in the position to give you a comment based on a hearsay. That's something to tarnish people's reputation. I would definitely won't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that a lot. Okay,
I believe
so if you had to give, because earlier you spoke about you liking the idea of not just working with brides and other businesses, but anybody who's interested in getting into the industry. So if you had to give some advice to somebody who's thinking about being a planner, interested in wedding planning, what would you tell them?
definitely be patient. Be patient, listen. That's your number one key. From your initial contact with the client, when that contact is done, you're supposed to have a good idea as to what this client wants.
Hmm.
So listen. The first contact is always to just listen. You have to be patient, have some kind of customer service skill because they trust you with one of the most important days of their life. And making an error on that day, it's something that is very hard for a bride.
Right.
A planner does not have to be an expert at everything, but needs to know a little of everything.
Makes
So
sense.
you need your florist background. You need to know about flowers. You need to know about color palettes. You need to know about furniture. You need to know how to be a counselor. You need to know about food
About
and beverage.
stains.
You definitely need to know a lot about everything. So when Tej comes to put something at an angle, you could at least know to say, hey, why did you put this like this? To have a constructive
Discussion
conversation.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you figure out, okay, well, the wind comes from this direction, hence the reason I put it there or whatnot. Even a very interesting thing, even like photography, to tell your photographer, hey, I'm going to be having a tent. How does that work with your light? Or my
Hmm.
backdrop is the straight ocean. How is that going to work with your lighting? So
I love that.
you definitely need to know a little of everything, but still respect the vendors you work with to allow them to do what they need to do.
So, stepping off of this teaching and learning thing, what do you think are some of the opportunities that exist in our industry? And just before you answer that, Janelle said we need a 25-year anniversary of that, and
Well,
and
this
somebody already have a piece of cake on that already.
this same wedding couple that we all three of us did, they're actually coming back for 10 years. So
Oh
that's next year.
wow!
So y'all will be hearing from me.
Okay, wonderful.
Because
So
Bell Potway was the photographer as well
he
on that
was
one.
the photographer, yeah, and that was very early on for him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all, I had a skeleton barrel at that wedding. I don't ask. I'll look for the pictures and I'll try to post them. I was saying, as somebody who is looking at the teaching and the learning element of it, not just the doing business and making money element, what do you think are some of the opportunities that exist in the planning industry and we're not taking advantage of it? And perhaps we should start to consider some of these things. Look, we
Of,
just mentioned it, but here he comes, Mr. Bell Potway.
oh Lord. Yes, what is new? Yes. I think one of the major opportunities that came in sometime early last year was to become members of CWEP. That's Caribbean Wedding and Event Planners.
Yes.
I would definitely advise anybody who's on that platform who provides any type of service to weddings and event industry persons, being a vendor yourself, to become a member of CWEP. It allows you to meet people and to definitely expand your services, not only in St. Lucia, but throughout the Caribbean. And it's also a learning opportunity. If you have the mindset, oh, why would I join this and all my competitors are here? No, it is a learning experience, and everybody could get the opportunity to learn something. And right now, it's actually free. So
Yes.
why would you not want to learn something for free?
For
And
free.
it's not just learning with basic information. You have professionals that go
And
into the
experienced people. And passionate
right.
people too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, with the while we've been on CWEP, we've gotten so many gigs, so many opportunities for persons in other islands who want to connect. So you have COTS want to get a connection in another island, so we call our friends from CWEP in the other islands and they hook us up. And yeah, so let's not limit ourselves only to St. Lucia, but
Yeah.
if our services are needed, we can expand throughout the Caribbean.
So I think one of the opportunities that I saw, and we spoke about it briefly when we were at the first CWEP Mixer event in St. Lucia at Harbor Club with Natalie herself from Junior Weddings, is that and she mentioned it, we really need to get together and collaborate on some sort of a staged photo shoot that represent what weddings look like in St. Lucia. And I'm bringing it right back to what you said in the beginning, which is that when we look at the industry, we really have to think of it as a collective so that we can all rise together. We cannot just look at it as Nadia does good work and then Jane Doe over there does a crappy job, so we're just going to ignore Jane Doe. No, she's a representative of the industry just the same. So having her and her content and her photos or whatever being of a proper standard really reflects well on the rest of us. And honestly, with CWEP, if we came together as just a solution chapter and did a style shoot that featured, oh, Daniel caught a couple from the ceremony and Bex caught a couple from the cocktail, and this other one with an understudy of a junior did this, and like somebody's saying in the chat right now, we put together a catalog and we really started to collaborate on, we all have our individual businesses, but if we collaborated on a CWEP presentation of what weddings in St. Lucia are of a particular standard, and even then, not just externally, but internally determine what that standard was. This is our safety, this is our security, this is our finance, this is the business of the weddings, this is the marketing of the weddings, the branding, the networking. And I'm sure I've seen the website, so I know some of these are on the agenda, but I'm just highlighting that there's so much opportunity in that we will be really silly not to explore and tap into that. So I love that. And since I attended the first CWEP Mixer, I think just networking in the industry has been a lot easier. COVID didn't upon us, and it made me a little salty and sour. Guys, I go like, because you there by yourself, you just say like, wow, I gotta work a wedding. So seeing faces, I was like, oh my God, Nadia! Oh my God, Daniel! So really sticking together. It was a breath of fresh air. It really was, and we really need to look at finding more opportunities in the industry apart from style shoots and just these little things. But I like what you said earlier. Teaching, training, learning. I know Natalie released her COVID safety tips book on Amazon, and that's another idea. This is a good opportunity for us to support each other in the different creative ventures that we find within the industry, and carry each other in that way. So definitely, absolutely.
But one of the things for a venture like that to be successful is for us to all make a foundation based on transparency and honesty.
Yeah.
You see, because a lot of persons come, okay, let's collaborate. when the time comes, we have to be okay with Tej being the designer to get the recognition. Nobody is going to know that you did the focus of it will not be the lighting that was at the back. So you have to be okay to say, yes, we did a gig together, but Tej was the highlight. I need to trust Tej to say, okay, when you get a client who wants that exact gig, I would be your only option for lighting.
That makes sense.
We have to be comfortable not to always be in the spotlight.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
I found it so much easier to stay in the background. And I'm okay with it, trust me. So
Yeah.
a few years ago, I had probably a wedding just probably a month away, and I fell ill. And that wedding was extremely dear to me, but I physically could not do what I had to do. So at that point, I had to make the conscious decision to hand over to a planner, which I believed at the time was quite capable and
Yeah.
do a job. I mean, you will get instances where things do not work out. However, that should not deter you, because energy is a great thing. You have people that your energy and your vibe. I have a circle of amazing vendors. Amazing vendors.
I'll back that up.
Really creative people.
I'll back that up. I had a client request recently, and they're doing their own planning, and they were just contacting me for the design. And I asked, so who other than the other vendors that are, commissioned for this wedding? And then they mentioned a caterer. And I said, oh, well, I mean, and a caterer is a very integral part of a wedding. I said, if you're using this caterer, I'm not going to be able to do this project with you. And they were like, what?
That's okay.
They were like, what? And I explained to them that my experience with this caterer hasn't been, and I've tried it many times, it hasn't been a pleasant one. And that disrupts the overall quality of the wedding when the designer who has to set the table and the tablecloth and everything else cannot work with the person who's putting everything on top of what they're doing. When we cannot work together, we're the two that's in the background before everybody comes. The caterer prepping in the kitchen and the designer prepping the tables that the caterer have to work on. If we cannot work together and we have no synergy in our energy and our work ethic and the way that we operate, honestly, it's in the client's best interest to just say, I'm probably not the right person for you. Go with your caterer. I'm probably not the right person for you.
It's okay to say that, because sometimes your energy, because that's how I match what vendor I'm going to use. If you have a bride who is very reserved, you can't put her with a photographer that's very touchy-feely. So you need to know your vendors as well as you know your clients. What I do, I have to pair my vendors to my clients. Yes, based on budget, that's an option based on your budget, but also the type of vendors. You do have, I mean, a lot of us think, okay, there are so many photographers.
Yeah, how do you choose?
Bring something different.
Yes, we covered that when we did the interview. James, he really allowed us to understand that everybody has a different style to what it is that they do. So,
even planning a wedding. When you, as a designer, I'm sure for the number of years you've been in the industry, for me as a planner, I could look at a wedding and I could tell you who the planner and the designer was.
Yeah.
There's just some signature stuff in weddings that you already know who did that. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. There are some clients that it will heavily attract, and there are some clients who it will not attract. My style is not for everyone, and that's okay.
Absolutely. I'll support that and say I did a wedding recently with a particular style on my reception table setup. There's somebody from the South who did a similar wedding, similar style on the table setup. Client contacted me and they said, hey, did you do this wedding in the South? And I was about to answer. And she's like, oh, wait, no, it wasn't you, because you don't do X, X, and X. And I was like, okay. Okay. I see that they're identifying that we can be similar, but not the same. And you have to choose based on what works with you. Energy, style, cost, experience, all that comes into play. What you did different from every... Go ahead.
I always I always tell clients you have three options. Have three options, and then that's when you do your breakdown. See what works
Yeah.
best for you.
Yeah. What you did different for this When Feature Wednesday interview than anybody else did, and I want to ask you about that, is that you provided us with a bio about you. Like you didn't just show up and say, "Hi, I'm Nadia, I'm this and that." You gave us a bio written up beforehand. And I wanted to ask you, based on that, do you think that when your brides are selecting the vendors, is it important that they understand the bio of the vendors, or are we just going on blind faith that everybody just endorse and they're good because the Instagram page good, so that good?
It all depends on the clients. You have
Mm,
clients who that doesn't really bother them, and they have clients who say, "I want to see your portfolio."
hmm.
So it all depends on the client. But the reason that I sent you a bio is because I've been in the background.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, yes, they know Nadia as a wedding planner, but they don't know how extensive I am
They
into
don't
it.
know she's a certified wedding planner, guys.
Yeah, and certified throughout the Caribbean.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
She's amazing, and that sets you apart from a lot of other planners. So that's pretty cool. Good.
yeah.
So any advice, any closing advice for our viewers? Nadia, this was good. This is very informative. I think we identified our points in there, our opportunities, our challenges, our good stuff, bad stuff, and how it is that you maybe you can tell us how it is that you see yourself growing moving forward as our closing remarks.
Mhm. So definitely my advice to brides, it's okay to want to plan your wedding by yourself, but we strongly, strongly advise to at least get a day of coordination
Mm.
to take away that stress, because planning a wedding is extremely detail oriented, and it should be a day that you enjoy. It should be a day that you just walk to. The most things that you could think of is probably how your hair and makeup. So just it's a planner supposed to give you that feeling where you just walk into your wedding and everything behind the scenes, helter skelter, it will be handled. You don't even need to know about it.
Yeah.
For my vendors, definitely vendors, you need to step up your game. You need to be up to the trends. You need to, and also know your turnaround time is very important to planners. So if a planner comes to you for a quotation, you have a client waiting for it, you can't take 2 weeks to give us a pricing because you stalling us to give the client a price. And the client has
Mm.
so many other options. But
Mm.
understand that by you working fast with me, it seals your service even faster.
Makes
So
sense.
planners, vendors, we need to step up our game. We need to capture our work, put our portfolios together. Our Instagram pages, our social medias cannot be a mixture of personal and business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you doing flowers and then your next picture you in your bikini and
Yeah.
no, we
You
have
watching my
to
engagement,
remember.
Nadia?
I doubt that very much. So we need to know when we send clients onto your page that it's professional. Your page tell a story so that
Yeah.
you could get work.
Yeah.
With a planner, the planner is the main source of contact. But if you have a good relationship with a planner, there's a guaranteed work coming your way all the time.
Absolutely.
And
Good.
for my persons willing to learn about wedding planning, I am always free and open to advise and to give guidance. And as well, you could join CWEP. Please
Web.
join
Mm-hmm.
CWEP. You have all the tips there how to start. We have the ladies who in the industry and the guys who've been there for a while who could guide you. And each island could say what's working for them in the COVID time now, and you could probably try and see
Mm-hmm.
how we adapt to that. And last but not least, definitely collaboration over
Competition.
competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that frame of mind has been working tremendously on my end for Passion for Weddings. I am so happy to meet persons who love to do what I do. So I can now delegate. Delegating feels so good.
Yeah.
Trust me. It feels so good to have have everybody eating, having everybody getting a piece of the pie, and knowing that your work stays at one level and you could
Yeah.
deliver a product to clients.
Yeah, I feel on a lot of points that you make, and I think that we do make a lot of mistakes in the industry. Some of it that, we can definitely avoid and do better. Some of it is, a trickle down effect. Sometimes as a designer, I might be delayed on a quote, like you say, because I'm delayed from a quote from a welder or a carpenter or something of the sort. And I think one of the best ways, and I feel of that sometimes, is that we don't communicate enough and say, hey, Nadia, you know what? I'm delayed on that because of, and give you the option to say, hey, if you move on, I completely understand if you do that, because I know I've been in situations where I'm trying to meet you at your quick 3-day, 4-day turnover. I personally, I don't offer 3 and 4 days. I do 5 to 7 because of the level of detail design. And designing is a long process of, yeah, I can put down all the elements on the paper, put down the cost that I think it is. But I like accuracy. When I give you a quote, I don't have to come back and tell you, well, what had happened was they had sent me for $600, and now they say based on the boats on location, it's $800 now. I don't like to do that with my clients, so I like to have my cost from my suppliers so I can back it up. Because if you question me as soon as I send it and you tell me, why is that costing so much? I need to be able to say, here is the invoice from Nadia's carpenter that said, this is why the canopy costs what it costs. So I see places that I know that I have to do better. We have to do better in the industry for sure. I have failed enough in the industry to say that I definitely know places that I have to do better. But I know places that it's just a trickle down effect. And with reasonable doubt, we simply have to communicate and flex, because I think one of the things that I know for sure about our industry is that being flexible is one of your key attributes. You have to be flexible and smart, and sometimes it requires patience from you, your planners, your team, your clients, because especially COVID, you go and you plan an entire wedding, and then the Prime Minister tells you within 2 days, like you said, yeah, you can have that wedding, and Nadia's like, oh, all these months of planning and designing and putting all these details down the drain because it's an entire new plan. So if you're not a flexible person, and you're short-tempered, and boy, you can't deal with changes, and you have no patience, and you don't want to put in the work, then perhaps this may not be the best. May not be the best option for you. Now, let's get into some of the fun parts of Wedding Feature Wednesday. So guys, this Wedding Feature Wednesday with Passions for Weddings and DIY Rentals, we have two giveaways. We have a giveaway of a free wedding consultation from Passions for Weddings, and Nadia just said earlier, she does add a value for a consultation. She has experience, expertise, inside knowledge, behind the scenes advice to give you. So we have a free consultation from Passions for Weddings available, as well as Nadia is offering us $150 off of rentals from DIY Rentals. So if you were missing your babies for your sweetheart table, now is a chance to get them. If you were missing your candles or your charger plates or your napkins, now is a chance to attempt to get your free napkins for the value of up to $150. So we have two giveaways, but that requires you to like both Nadia's page, Passion for Weddings, and my page, Tej Azuk, as well as tag 2 of your friends and answer your giveaway question. And your giveaway question will be posted very soon. Giveaway question, you have had to be listening to this interview to know there's a secret question in there. So I want to thank Nadia for joining us on Wedding Feature Wednesday. I know it's a very busy season for you. End of year is busy for everybody. We're just trying to navigate, and then COVID and people and things. So I know it's a busy time, but thank you so much for taking time out to be featured on Wedding Feature Wednesday. You have your whole crew in the chats. Monsieur, Sweet Jeans, they call you our planner, kind of thing. You all just put me on the team. Whoa, put me on the team. Let me make a comeback of the Blue Pirate Wedding. Let me do a comeback.
Of course.
Yeah.
Make that happen. And just for my Instagram handle, it's now P4Weddings instead of Passion for Weddings, because our original Passion for Weddings Instagram got hacked. So whoever loved my photos more than me, I guess. Yeah, so we just recently started a new page. So it's P4Weddings.
P4Weddings, right. So it's P4Weddings, guys, for your giveaway handles. Make sure you look at follow the right page because we will be checking. It's P4Weddings and it's Tej as you have to be following both pages and tagging 2 friends. So thank you so much for joining us tonight for Wedding Feature Wednesday. And thank you for joining us as well. This was very, very informative. Thank you guys. And if you have any other questions, please DM Nadia, not me. I'm only the designer. That's the plan over there. Alrighty, guys. Thank you again, Nadia. Bye.
Bye. Okay.